Guys, one of the big pieces of news since we last met in October was the trade of Brian McCann. And as we sat there doing that final regular season show, Jack, we thought, and you thought, that McCann might have a spot on the 2017 team. That's clearly not the case.
That's not the way the Yankees decided to go about, but they could have moved in that direction because of this. Left-handed power at Yankee Stadium, that's a commodity. McCann was a guy who could have backed up Sanchez a couple days a week, been your DH, played some first base. The Yankees elected to trade him instead, go out and got two young arms, both guys who throw around 100 miles an hour, so they're going to see if those guys can materialize into anything. But as we talk about Brian McCann and the fact that he's no longer a Yankee, this is really about Gary Sanchez. He forced this narrative. If you went back to the middle of July, this was Brian McCann's team. He was the guy leading the scouting meetings. But Gary Sanchez comes up. Suddenly, Brian McCann doesn't have a spot anymore. The Yankees have to have a spot for Gary Sanchez. He's the guy who made McCann expendable.
You know, when I thought about this deal, I think both sides did the right thing here. You think about Brian McCann and how he handled himself last year when Gary Sanchez came up and really took over. Brian McCann said the right thing. Brian McCann treated Gary Sanchez the right way. There's nothing worse than a veteran player who loses his job and makes it tense for a young player coming to the big leagues. Brian McCann would never do that. He did the right thing, and I think the Yankees rewarded him by making the move, and not just to a team like Atlanta, which I think a lot of us thought he might go home, maybe not the best team in the world. He's going to the Houston Astros. They're going to have a good ball club. He's going to be able to catch his 100 to 120 games. He's going to be a leader on that ball club. So I think both sides handled this perfectly. I think the one thing, the Yankees are going to miss him on the field, like you talked about, Jack. They're going to miss him in that clubhouse. He was a big-time leader.
Both the Yankees and McCann acted like gentlemen. John is 100% correct. But also, McCann had to waive his no-trade clause. So he was looking for a situation that he thought would be a good one. The Yankees are now going to compete against the Astros for a playoff spot, so they're going to have to worry about dealing with McCann as well.